Hello and welcome to part 27 in my Japanese for Beginners series. In this lesson, you're going to learn how to convert verbs into their stem form and then to combine them with particle ni to say that you are going to do a verb at a place, among other things. We're going to cover a few uses for verb stems in this lesson. And this lesson, by the way, corresponds with page 174 of the Genki Volume 1 textbook, but don't worry, even if you don't have the textbook, you will still be able to follow along. では始めましょう。So what is a verb stem? The good news is it's rather easy to convert a verb to its stem form. All you have to do is take the verb in its polite form or its masu form and delete the masu, and boom, that's the verb in its stem form. That's all it is. So it's very easy and very intuitive if you're starting with a verb from its masu form, but if you're thinking in your head of a verb in its dictionary form, which is the plain form, it's the form that ends in a ru or an u or a gu or a ku or basically anything that's not masu, then it's a little bit more difficult to convert. You have to think of if it ends in an u, I have to change it to e and all that stuff. But just think of it in its masu form, delete the masu, and then you got a verb stem. All right, that's the end of the lesson. Goodbye, thanks. So yeah, the way to actually use stems in a sentence, there are a few ways that I will cover in this lesson. The first way, I just want you guys to be aware of this, but it's not so common in spoken Japanese, so don't worry about actually applying it and using it. But the first way that a verb stem can be used is it's kind of like the te form of a verb in a sentence if you're saying, I do this verb and then I do this verb. So ご飯を食べて学校に行く. I eat my breakfast or my meal, and then I go to school. That te form of the verb is kind of just joining those verbs together. Shawa o abite neru. It's take a shower and go to bed. That te form of the abite, that's just kind of acting as an and. There's this one verb and then there's this other verb. So the stem form of a verb can take the place of the te form of the verb. It can be shawa o abi, because that would be the stem form of abimasu. Just drop the mas and it's abi. Neru. So that's very literary and formal, and it doesn't really come up much in spoken Japanese. So just be aware that it exists, but don't worry about using it really, because you're not really going to use it unless you're writing a lot of formal essays or giving a bunch of formal speeches. So another use of verb stems is if you want to combine two verbs together to make what I call super verb. And we've come across some of these verbs already in our various lessons. One of those verbs is kigaeru. So notice, kiru is that first verb. It means to wear clothes. And then kaeru is to change. So basically the stem form of kiru, which is just kimasu, you drop the masu and it just becomes ki, and then you add gaeru to the end of that and it becomes change clothes. It becomes its own super verb, but it's actually made up of two verbs. Here's another one, hashiri dasu. So lots of super verbs end in dasu. Dasu means to exit or to go out, basically. So if any verb is going out, then it's going to be that verb stem plus dasu. And hashiri dasu is just one of those. And it means to take off running, because hashiri is the stem form of hashirimasu, or hashiru, dictionary form, but masu form, hashirimasu, to run. Delete the masu, you're just left with hashiri, and then dasu. So super verb, take off running. Here's another one, uketoru. You might have heard this a lot, if you watch a lot of anime, somebody gives someone a gift and they're like, uketotte kudasai, or something like that. And it's usually subtitles is please accept my gift. And that's kind of what uketoru means. It means to accept or to receive, but specifically a gift. So if we break down these verbs, uke is our first verb that is a stem for ukemasu. Ukeru, ukemasu. So we delete the mas and it becomes uke, that's just the stem. And that means to receive. And then toru, that second verb, means to take. So to take and to receive. Now, toru, like you could just physically take something, whereas receive, it is given to you. So uke toru has that nuance of you're taking something that is being given to you, and therefore you are receiving this gift. Here's another super verb, tsukiau. So that means to date, basically, but let's break that down into its little parts. Tsuki is the verb stem for tsukimasu, which means to attach or like to latch onto something. And then au, that verb, or aimasu, it means to complement, to go well with something. So to latch and to go well. Combined, it makes super verb to go with somebody, as in to date somebody. It doesn't always mean to date. It can just mean like, if someone's like,ねえちょっと付き合って, it's like, hey, come with me for a minute. You can say it that way, but if it's like, 僕と付き合ってください, with like the very nervous bowing at the waist to your person that you have a crush on, it's like, please go out with me. But yeah, it's a super verb made from the verbs to attach or to latch on to something and to complement, go with, match well with. 食べ始める. So here's another hajimeru, kind of like deru. It's a very commonly used secondary verb added to a verb stem to make a super verb. So tabe is the verb stem for tabemasu or taberu. You just delete the masu and you get tabe, that's the stem. Add hajimeru, which is the verb that means to begin. So eat and begin. Together, that super verb means begin to eat. So as you can see, you can apply hajimeru to any verb stem. It's begin to whatever. Begin to see, begin to think, begin to eat, begin to drink. You can add it to all kinds of verb stems to say begin to do something. And then likewise, same verb here, tabe owatta means I have finished eating, because owatta means finished. Owaru is to end, and then owatta means like ended. So tabe owatta means like I have, past tense, finished eating. So the third way that you can use verb stems, this is the only one that was covered in Genki, incidentally. I just added those first two things to make this lesson a little bit longer and to give a little more interesting information in there. So what you can do is you can use the verb stem of a verb, add ni, and then add one of your motion verbs like iku, kuru, kaeru, that sort of thing, to say that you are going, like going out, or coming somewhere to do a verb, basically. And so I got a few sentences to illustrate this. カバンを買いに行く. So 買いに行く. Kai is the stem of kaimasu, to buy. So 買いに行く is going to buy, going out to buy, or go to buy, basically. And then カバン is a bag. So the whole phrase means go out to the store to buy a bag. Here is a really, really common phrase that you should know. 遊びに来てください. Or any permutation. 遊びに来てね. Like, you know, if you're more cash about it. So, 遊び is the stem of 遊びます, which is the verb that means to play. So, 遊びに来る, which means come to play, or come play. Somebody come and play, like that kind of feeling to it. So to come and play. And then te kudasai, as we covered in a few lessons back, that means please do, this verb. So it means please come and play. Now, culturally speaking, this is a great example of why literal translations have no place in the civilized world. It literally means please come and play, but that's not what it actually means. Like when a Japanese person tells you 遊びに来てください, they don't literally mean, hey, come over to my house and I'll get out my dolls and you bring over your blocks and we're gonna play together. No, it actually means just come visit, come hang out. But it's a very set phrase and it's used a lot. So that's why I included it in this list of phrases. Here's another one that's pretty common. 君を迎えに来ました. So 迎えに来る is our set phrase here. Mukae is the stem of the verb mukaemasu, or mukaeru, which means to greet, to see, and to welcome. It's all of those things kind of wrapped into one. So, welcome. I've come to welcome you is what that literally means. But again, literal translations are crap. That's not what it actually means. It doesn't mean that I've come to welcome you. It means I've come to take you home. I've come to pick you up so that I may then take you home, basically. I've come to get you. I've come to take you home. And then this, with the kimi in there, kimi o mukai ni kimashita, like that's a little more like romantic-y. You can also use it in a romantic context. I think it was SMAP. I have that song somewhere. Anyway, it means I've come to take you, like away from your loneliness. I've come to take you to be with me, sort of thing. It can also have that meaning as well. But mukai ni kuru usually means like I've come to pick you up from school or from work to take you home. Ocha o nomi ni ikimashou. This is a phrase that I would say a lot to people. So ocha is tea. So nomi is the stem of nomimasu, which is to drink. So nomi ni iku would be go drink. Go to drink tea. But it's ikimashou, which is the let's do this verb form of the verb. So it's let's go drink tea. And really like let's go out and drink tea, basically. Anime o mi ni kita. So this is a plain speech. I'm not kimashita. So mi ni. And notice like the verb stem of miru is just a kanji all by itself, and that can get slightly confusing sometimes, kind of like in kigaeru. That stem ki is just a kanji by itself, so it can get a little confusing. But yeah, mi is the stem of mimasu. You just delete the masu and you just mi, the kanji mi. So mi ni kuru means come to see or come see. But it's kita, past tense, so came to see. Anime o, I came here to watch anime, basically. So now we have come to the review section of this lesson. Please do not skip this part. Most language learners skip the practicing actually saying the words, and then they can't speak the language. They can just understand it. And I'm not talking about myself at all here. Anyway, find a nice quiet corner and actually practice saying these phrases out loud. I have timestamps in the video description below and in the pinned comment in the comments section below. And just click on whatever phrase you want me to repeat over and over again, and I'll keep repeating it because you control the buttons. Press pause because I don't leave that much of a space between the phrases. Also, if you want to change the speed at which I'm speaking, if I'm speaking too quickly or too slowly for you, go to the settings in the playback. I mean, this is a handy tip in general. Like if you want to whiz through YouTube videos, play them on 1.5 speed. It's great. It's a great trick. Anyway, you can change the speed at which I'm speaking in the settings on the playback. So do that if I'm too fast or too slow for you in general. 走り出す 受け取る付き合う食べ始める食べ終わったカバンを買いに行く遊びに来てください君を迎えに来ましたお茶を飲みに行きましょうアニメを見に来たThanks for watching. In the next lesson, we're going to learn yet another way to tell someone to not do a verb. We're going to say, don't do this verb. Please don't eat that cake. Don't look at my boobs. Don't go to Antarctica. Thank you to all the patrons who support this and all the other series on this channel. Hey, if you felt like that lesson was a little too easy for you, I have playlists floating above my head for more intermediate to advanced learners. And I also have a huge library of videos on this channel that you can check out and watch for days. Probably. I have a lot of videos. Anyway, if this was your pace, look out for the next video in my Japanese for Beginners series, and mata ne!